Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Now at 6 a.m. on WKYT This Morning, breaking news overnight in Ferguson, where police say an officer came under fire during a protest to mark the one-year anniversary of the shooting death of Michael Brown.
A man accused of harboring vicious animals is headed to court today as a group tries to save one of his dogs.
Kicking off the start of the work week on a soggy note. Not so much this morning. We only have a few showers out and about. We're seeing that fly across the region as most of this coming in from the west and northwest. Look for it to really spark up. Temperatures starting off in the 70s this morning, and then we're looking in toward the afternoon. Sliding into the afternoon, it's going to be right there around 86 degrees, and also those spotty showers and thunderstorms. We'll get right into it coming up. WKYT News starts right now.
Hello there and good morning from WKYT. Bill Bryant and Rebecca Smith reporting breaking news this morning. A breaking news alert. Gunfire in Ferguson, Missouri has led to an overnight shootout with police.
Police say one person was shot and is in critical condition this morning. The shooting follows a day-long protest marking the one-year anniversary of the deadly police shooting of 18-year-old Michael Brown. Protesters started running for their lives last night after police say two groups nearby got into a gun battle, firing dozens of shots. Two unmarked police cruisers were hit by bullets. Police say they began following one armed man with whom they exchanged gunfire. The man was shot and is in critical condition. We'll have much more on the unrest in Ferguson throughout our morning. And police are looking for whoever's involved in a late-night shooting in Lexington. New this morning, a man was seen running away from an argument when police say he was shot in the hip last night. This happened at the corner of Douglas and Florence Avenues off of Georgetown Street. He is recovering at UK Hospital, but police say he is not cooperating with the investigation.
And a man accused of harboring vicious animals in Lincoln County is set to be back in court today. Christopher Pope owned the pack of dogs that police say mauled a woman. WKYT's Mark Barber has been following that case for us, and he's joining us now from our live desk with the latest. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Officers obtained an arrest warrant for Christopher Pope on Friday. He was out on bond when they issued the warrant, so now officers have been searching for him for 3 days. If Pope shows up for his arraignment in Lincoln County today, he could be arrested. The 26-year-old is facing charges in several different counties. In Lincoln County, he is charged with harboring a vicious animal and animal cruelty. Police say back in July, 6 of his dogs attacked his neighbor in her yard, nearly killing her. Danville police obtained an arrest warrant for Pope last week, charging him with 4 counts of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The prosecuting attorney in Boyle County also told us last week that he was preparing to file more charges against Pope because officers found a dozen dogs that he was keeping in a home with very poor living conditions. We're told many of the dogs that were rescued from that home on Old Shakertown Road were Prussia Canarios. That's the same breed of dogs that mauled Pope's neighbor in Lincoln County. So what happens to the dogs that were involved in the horrific attack? The judge executive says one of them could be euthanized today. Animal rights groups are worried that it will be the one dog that was not even involved in the attack. Coming up at 6:30, we'll take a closer look at why people are trying to stop that from happening. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you very much. 6:03 on WKYT this morning, and federal investigators will be in Boyle County today. They'll be looking into a weekend plane crash. The small plane crashed yesterday near Highway 12 north of Junction City. Officials say the pilot was not hurt and he left the scene with his family walking away. The FAA is expected to arrive on scene today. We have a traffic alert near downtown Lexington. Lane closures are expected today and maybe for a while at East 3rd and Race Street. That's where over the weekend a building collapsed.
WKYT's Sean Moody is live at that busy intersection with a look at what's left.
Good morning, Rebecca and Bill. This is what's left of that building here on the corner of 3rd and Race Streets. It wasn't quite that bad when the building first came down. A lot of it was still standing at first, but since Saturday night when it first collapsed, they've taken the rest of the building. Now it's just a pile of rubble here on the corner, and we're trying to figure out exactly how badly that's going to impact traffic today when the workers come in to start clearing up that block. Neighbors said this was an old clothing store, but they said it had been empty for the past 20 years or so. It collapsed Saturday night around 7 o'clock. A lot of the building was still standing immediately after the collapse, but it's been torn down since then. Now, at some point today, dispatchers tell WKYT that workers are going to start clearing all that rubble out of the lot. This property is for sale, and some of the people who live around here hope that this collapse could maybe lead to a new opportunity for a business to come in and breathe new life into that spot. Now, we haven't heard exactly when workers are going to come in to start working on this. You can see over on the side of the lot there is some heavy equipment there for those workers to use and start clearing this block out. Again, it's on the corner of 3rd Street and Race Street. Dispatchers weren't sure exactly which street would have closures. If it is 3rd Street throughout the morning here, that's going to have an impact because this is a pretty busy stretch of road, especially during the morning rush hour. We'll keep you posted if we hear about any delays. Live in Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
All right, Sean, thank you.
Good to know. Thanks so much, Sean. Well, it is almost back to school time in Fayette County.
And students are enjoying 2 more days of summer break, starting a new school year, of course, coming up on Wednesday in Lexington. This morning, Fayette County school bus drivers, though, are doing their test runs on their bus routes, and so you can expect some extra traffic this week, and maybe out there this morning you'll see the buses moving along. Classes at the University of Kentucky will start on August 26th. Speaking of extra traffic, road work is planned today on Georgetown Road. State leaders say routine bridge work is scheduled for today over New Circle Road. At least one lane in each direction will stay open for traffic at all times, but still it could back up. The road work is scheduled from 6:30 tonight until 6:30 tomorrow morning, and again overnight on Tuesday.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris and First Alert Defender.
Well, sprinkles, a couple light showers out and about, especially down toward the south and the far northern zones. It's this way, it's that way, not so much in the middle just yet. But we'll see that fill in as we go throughout the day. We're not looking at tremendous amounts of rain today. We actually have one shower that's approaching London. London, you've already seen the shower. Here comes another one. It's very light, but it's about to roll through downtown London. Manchester, you'll be next in line. Look back toward Hazard. That's where we're seeing another shower that'll be approaching downtown Hazard here in just about 5 to 10 minutes. But other than that, that's it. I mean, these are very light showers. You really got to look toward Campbellsburg, as that's where we're picking up on some of that rain across 71 at this moment. 0-10 Monterey, Harmony, you guys are next in line. Newcastle, more than likely, you'll at least get some sprinkles, but the heaviest stuff stays just to the north of you. And head towards 127 there in Owen County. Current temperatures are in the 70s, but let me tell you this. You'll feel the humidity outside just a bit. I mean, it's not extremely high, but it's pretty up there, and you'll feel that and know something's on the way. We're looking for scattered showers and thunderstorms today. There's not one area that actually has a better chance of rain. It's just kind of out and about. It's pretty widespread in terms of the area that it covers, not so much how many people it covers, if that makes sense. So some will see it, some will not, but there's not one zone that has the better opportunity. Off into the night and into the overnight hours, there still is a chance, but it's really to the eastern zones. When you see that, that means it's trying to move on out. So that's your forecast for today. Getting into Tuesday, though, it'll still be kind of warm. We're sitting there in the low to mid 80s. But then once we get into the afternoon, here comes a nice shot of some cooler air. Look at the greens showing up, trying to dive on in here. Those are 50s, and it'll feel really, really nice on Wednesday. 77 to 81 degrees. A big shot at some cooler air on the way. Today's talkers, we're sitting there with that stormy Monday. A lot of people will be talking about that later on today. And it looks like things will clear on out for a really nice fall feel as we track off into midweek. There's your 7-day forecast today and tomorrow. Really tomorrow morning, you could have a slight chance during the afternoon in the mountain areas, but other than that, it's really the morning hours trying to get that rain on out of here. Then Wednesday and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all those look good, Rebecca. I mean, those are days you can get out and really enjoy sitting there in the upper 70s, lower 80s there on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday through your weekend, we're holding on to the mid 80s. So all in all, this is one of those forecasts that actually look pretty good after we get past today and tomorrow morning. With those temperatures sitting there in the 80s, we'll have that chance of rain there at 60% on Monday. Looks like Tuesday, it's sitting there at 30%, especially during the morning hours, and then toward the afternoon, looks like things will kind of fall away. Hopefully they'll come back to us here in just
perfect day for the start of, Fayette County schools. So
it is.
That's good news.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially getting those kids there. I know they're going to be pretty wild.
Yeah.
You can get them outdoors and enjoy that.
Yeah, get some of that energy out. Each morning we're bringing you weather and traffic. Here's Officer Don now with a look at what's happening out on the roads on this Monday.
Good morning. Got a stalled car. This one's inbound Nicholasville Road just before the circle, just past Lexington Green. It's in the left lane. That's one thing we're dealing with on Nicholasville Road this morning. And some debris in the roadway on the inner loop of New Circle between Versailles Road, Old Frankfort Pike. That's blocking part of the right lane. Quick look outside and we'll show you what to expect as you plan to head out the door this morning with a live look. Inbound Harrodsburg Road, so far we're okay heading to South Broadway toward downtown. And on our Waze map, we can see we're trouble-free on the circle and the interstate, cross the Clays Ferry Bridge. Live drivers on the way in this morning reporting that no major issues to deal with this early. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, Don. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great weekend. And, of course, Officer Don and Deanna on 98.1 The Bull. Listen in when you get in the car this morning. Hey, there's a lot more news coming up on WKYT on your Monday.
The latest from Ferguson, Missouri, where there's been another police-involved shooting on the anniversary of the death of Michael Brown.
And also, Tesla wants to make charging up your car even easier with a new automated system. That story and more on the way. 6:10 on WKYT this morning.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you. It is Monday, August 10th. Welcome to WKYT This Morning.
I'm Rebecca Smith.
I'm Bill Bryant. At 6:30, breaking news overnight in Ferguson, Missouri, where there has been another police-involved shooting. It comes on the anniversary of Michael Brown's death.
Details on visitation for a Kentucky State Police trooper who was killed in a crash.
And we have a couple of sprinkles, couple of light showers out and about, and we're going to be seeing that fly across the region as we go throughout the day. Now, outside right now, it's kind of calm, kind of quiet, especially for those first days of school out and about. But here we go toward the afternoon. We'll start to see us go from the 70s with a pretty calm start to the 80s with scattered showers and thunderstorms. We'll get into your latest forecast coming up.
And first on WKYT, we are tracking a breaking news alert this morning. Bullets flew in Ferguson, Missouri on the anniversary of the death of Michael Brown, the 18-year-old unarmed black man who was killed last year.
A St. Louis County Police Chief John Belmar says a man who wasn't connected to protesters opened fire on officers and is in critical, unstable condition after officers returned fire. The shooting happened shortly after two groups exchanged gunfire, sending protesters running for cover. Back here in Lexington, police are looking for two people after an armed robbery. The victims were robbed just before midnight at the Brandywine Apartments on Trent Boulevard. Police say two people were walking into the complex when two gunmen came up and robbed them of their wallets and their phones. And new this morning, two people are in jail accused of robbing a Lexington hotel. Police say Kristen Welty had a gun when she robbed the Sleep Inn in Hamburg. They say Michael Rayburn was her getaway driver. Both were arrested Saturday when police say they were caught shoplifting from Walmart. A man accused of harboring vicious animals in Lincoln County set to be back in court today.
Christopher Pope owned that pack of dogs that police say mauled a woman. And WKYT's Mark Barber has been following that case for us. He's joining us now from our live desk with new information. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Bill. The 26-year-old is scheduled to be back in court in Lincoln County today to answer to charges connected to a horrific dog attack that nearly killed his neighbor. Christopher Pope is also set to appear before a judge in Boyle County in just 2 days for a hearing in another animal cruelty case. In the latest case, officers tell us they found a dozen dogs that Pope was keeping in a house on Old Shaker Town Road in very poor living conditions. The first animal cruelty charges were filed against Pope in Lincoln County, where 6 of his dogs mauled his neighbor in her yard in July. So what happens to those animals? Animal control tells us it is a matter of public safety, and they may have to be put down. The Lincoln County Judge Executive tells us one of the dogs will be killed today. Animal rights groups are fighting to keep that from happening because they say the dog set to be euthanized is the one dog that did not attack the woman. An animal rights group out of Kansas City tells us they are trying to get the dog's temperament testing to see if they can be rehabilitated and then adopted. As for Pope, he's out on bond. A warrant was issued for his arrest back on Friday, so he could be arrested if he shows up in court today. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. 6:34 now on WKYT this morning, and visitation is later today for a Kentucky State Police trooper who died in a crash heading into the weekend. Sergeant David Gibbs died Friday. Police say he lost control of his cruiser on Highway 210 in LaRue County and then crashed into a Jeep. His visitation is from 4 until 8 today at Brown Funeral Home in Elizabethtown, and it will continue tomorrow to be followed by his funeral at Severns Valley Baptist Church. Also this morning, we are working to learn some new information, including the name of the person who died in a Clark County crash. That happened on US 60 near Barnes Drive in Winchester. A car crashed into a utility pole there. The coroner has not identified the victim at this point. We're working to learn how several people are doing this morning after a serious crash on Highway 90 in Pulaski County near Lake Cumberland there. 2 adults and a child were flown to the hospital yesterday after 2 SUVs crashed near Burnside. The sheriff's office says at least 1 person was thrown from the vehicle. No names have been released.
We could find out more today about why police charged a woman with a Franklin County murder. Police arrested 28-year-old Misha Nichols over the weekend on Flag Fork Road. She's accused in the death of 66-year-old Thomas Ellison, who was found stabbed to death in his apartment. Police say the two were acquaintances, but they could not elaborate on how the two knew each other. A man accused of beating his infant son to death headed back to court today. Daniel Cox is charged with murder and child abuse in Hardin County. His 4-month-old son, Jason, died over the weekend. Family members say Cox beat the baby while he was driving.
He was hitting hard, swinging hard, and the car seat had to be like this, so he was literally hitting the baby in his head or in his chest.
Family members say Cox was taking his baby to visit one of his other children at the time.
Well, it could be an interesting few weeks ahead here in the Commonwealth. Today, a 3rd person is expected to enter the Kentucky governor's race. Drew Curtis, the creator of Fark.com, a website, is planning to file as an independent candidate today. He has collected 8,000 signatures. That's 3,000 more than the necessary 5,000 needed to get on Kentucky's November ballot. Curtis is running against Democrat Jack Conway and Republican Matt Bevin, and Curtis's wife will be his running mate. A federal judge is expected to rule as early as today in the case against Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis. She was sued by the ACLU for refusing to issue marriage licenses following the Supreme Court's ruling this summer to legalize same-sex marriage. Davis is one of a handful of county clerks in Kentucky who have taken that stand. She is now suing Steve Beshear, the governor, accusing him of violating her religious freedoms. We have a traffic alert near downtown Lexington today. Lane closures are expected today at East 3rd and Race Street because over the weekend a building collapsed there.
Yeah, a lot of issues over there. Sean Moody live at that busy intersection with a look at what's left.
Good morning, Rebecca and Bill. This is what's left of that building. After it first collapsed on Saturday night, a lot of it was still standing. You can see it's now since been taken down the rest of the way. It's just a pretty tall pile of rubble here now in the corner of East 3rd Street and Race Street. Now, as we get into the morning rush hour, this could be an issue. Right now, all lanes of traffic are moving smoothly, but as workers come in to start to clean this up, we understand there could be a traffic impact. Neighbors said the building had been a clothing store at one time, but it's been empty for the past 20 years or so. Around 7 o'clock Saturday night, the building collapsed, spilling out onto 3rd Street. They've got the road open again now, but dispatchers tell us there will be a traffic impact as workers start clearing the lot out today. Now, the building is on the corner of Race Street and 3rd Street. They didn't say whether 3rd or Race would be affected. 3rd Street would certainly be a bigger traffic impact as the morning rush hour goes on. Now, people who live here near the building said over the weekend that this lot was for sale, and they hope that maybe someone will come in and redevelop this property now and bring some new life into it. So, again, dispatchers aren't sure exactly what time workers are going to be coming here out to Race and 3rd to start clearing this debris off. You can see there's heavy equipment here ready to go once these workers get here. And once they get here, if we figure out there's going to be any kind of a delay here on 3rd Street as the morning rush hour gets going, we'll let you know about it. Live in Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
All right, Sean, thank you very much. Something to watch and a lot of mystery, really, as to why that building went down over the weekend.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about it on Facebook for sure.
Yeah, 6:39 is the time on WKYT this morning.
Let's get a check of traffic right now and see what's happening with a look at live drive traffic. The view there of Broadway and the Red Mile looking good.
It is. Folks are moving along fine this morning. Be ready for big changes at midweek. Of course, they're going to be testing the bus routes today in Fayette County, so you may see some big yellow school buses out there here and there. But Wednesday, when classes get rolling, you'll be noticing a significant change. So everybody be ready for that. And of course, UK then a couple of weeks later. So it is that time of year.
It is that time of year, you know, and it feels like it. I mean, not quite as hot maybe as typical, but
it's a fun time of year. You know, a lot of nostalgia this time of year. More news coming up on WKYT this morning. We hope you'll stay with us.
Thousands of ducks invaded the Chicago River, but they didn't fly in. How they got there after weather.
And we're looking outside, holding on to a couple of sprinkles, a couple light showers. There's not much going on this morning, but we get into the afternoon and evening, and here comes some thunderstorms. We'll get into that forecast coming up next.